Hey everyone, it's Queer Brown Vegan and welcome back to our channel. If you're looking at the world and wondering why we're destroying ourselves and our planet to make profit, stay tuned. Because today we're diving into a fascinating topic that has the potential to shape our future for the better, the concept of a well-being economy. This transformative idea can bring about countless benefits to individuals, communities, and our planet, and it's already here. Imagine the economy as a complex ecosystem, much like a thriving forest. Just as each plant and creature plays a role in maintaining the balance of a forest, our economy too should strive to harmonize the well-being of people and the planet. You know the thing that a functioning economy depends on? That's what a well-being economy is all about. Fostering a sustainable and flourishing ecosystem where everyone thrives. But what exactly is a well-being economy? Well, it's an alternative economic movement that expands our focus and metrics of success from mere financial wealth to the overall quality of life. In a well-being economy, we prioritize the health, happiness, and fulfillment of individuals while also ensuring for the long-term sustainability of ecosystems. Society shouldn't be like a race where only a few winners emerge and the majority of the people are left behind. We can design it to be more like a symphony where every instrument plays a unique role, harmonizing together to create a beautiful and inclusive melody. This concept simply pushes us to examine the logic behind an economic system focused on profit alone. As has been covered in leading economic publications like the Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, capitalism has driven us towards a crisis and won't get us out of it. So then what do we do? This concept was addressed as early as 1972 by Limits of Growth, co-authored by Donella Meadows and others. At the time, a team at MIT found that there was no way to sustain a current economic growth beyond the year 2100 without decimating the planet. And since then, we've seen the truth of this study as economic inequality, resource depletion, pollution, and natural disasters have all accelerated. This has all happened in part because the dominant economic system focuses far too narrowly on profits and measures like GDP, which tells us about quantity but not enough about quality. Clearly, how much we produce and consume doesn't equate to our quality of life. For a long time, GDP growth was treated as the benchmark of a successful economy. If people are spending, then things must be good, right? Not exactly. GDP disproportionately represents wealthy people who might casually spend $10,000 on a shopping trip, purchasing private planes or 4 or 5 luxury vehicles. Considering that the wealthiest 10% of earners worldwide account for nearly 50% of global emissions, we don't want a system that rewards that. Again, it's not us, it's them. GDP also makes no distinction about what the money is spent on. After hurricane strikes and oil spill occurs, the subsequent cleanup expenses would actually contribute to GDP growth. How wild is that? It doesn't make sense as a global or assessment of well-being. If that's not enough to convince you, the creator of GDP himself, Simon Kuznets, warned Congress against focusing specifically on it, saying the words, "The welfare of a nation can't scarcely be inferred from a measurement of national income as defined by GDP." That's why groups like the Wellbeing Economy Alliance are promoting the development and use of other indicators and economic goals. But here we are today, in a world where the private sphere and profit motives extends into every inch of our lives. Healthy food gets inflated to higher prices. We have car-dependent infrastructure because car companies bought out our leaders. If you can't afford treatment of your illness, in America, at least, you'll die. But hey, at least someone made a profit, right? This economic model has had consequences that are now reaching planetary levels, but some countries are already working out something new, something less about being rich and more about well-being. There was a positive piece of Limits to Growth, and it was this: humans can create a society in which we can live indefinitely on Earth if we impose limits on ourselves and our production of material goods to achieve a state of global equilibrium with population and production in carefully selected balance. This is a key question. How much more extraction, pollution, and destruction will we enable for the sake of economic growth? Currently, a small percentage of our population, billionaires and some millionaires, are enriching themselves at the expense of many others. Groups like the Wellbeing Economy Alliance represent the shift towards measuring success beyond economic growth and have begun to build a powerful multi-leveled coalitions around the change. To iterate, well-being economies are economies that are designed to serve people and the planet, not the other way around. Rather than prioritizing economic growth alone and pursuing that huge cost to people and the planet, a well-being economy puts our human and planetary needs at the center of its activities, ensuring that the needs are all equally met by default. It's also seen as a picnic blanket term that encompasses post-growth, degrowth, solidarity economy, care economy, regenerative economy, purpose economy concepts and ideas. What does this look like? Let's explore around the world and see what we can find. In Iceland, after the financial collapse of 2008, while other countries deemed their blanks too big to fail, Iceland deemed them too big to save. And in its recovery, Iceland prioritized its people and their well-being. In 2019, these changes culminated into a framework of 38 well-being indicators besides GDP, created through a collaborative process. These indicators including things like mental health, work-life balance, and zero carbon emissions guide the country's 5-year fiscal strategies. Can you imagine if the US government based their budget on well-being? In 2015, the Welsh passed the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, which brought a well-being framework into their constitution. This framework encompasses 7 core well-being goals, being prosperous, more equal, globally responsive, resilient, healthier, having a cohesive communities, a vibrant culture, and a thriving Welsh language. Not only that, it also mandated that all public bodies design and publish well-being objectives that maximize their contribution to achieving all 7 other defined well-being goals, publish statements about their set objectives, and report annually on their progress in a well-being report. After the Welsh government approved plans for a road around the city of Newport, which would cut through a highly biodiverse wetland area, their new Future Generations Commissioner, Sophie Howe, intervened asking how it would fit into the goals for a low-carbon society, which maintains, enhances ecosystems, and supports healthier citizens. Even after a public inquiry recommended that the road go ahead based on economic arguments, the Welsh's First Minister gave more weight to Howe's long-term environmental considerations and decided to refuse the plans. In New Zealand, for example, in May of 2019, New Zealand unveiled that their first well-being budget. It uses social and environmental indicators along with economic and fiscal ones to guide the government's investment and funding decisions. They said, the purpose of government spending is to ensure citizens' health and life satisfaction, and that not wealth or economic growth is the metric by a country's progress should be measured. This comprehensive approach has helped them design policies and make investments in a manner that's responsive to short and long-term issues, involves collaboration between different agencies rather than economic growth alone, and it's also part of their living standards framework, which goes beyond GDP. In New Zealand, both a generic and indigenous Maori well-being framework are being used side by side, recognizing the diversity and perspectives on what well-being means. All of these nations are a part of the Wellbeing Economic Government Partnership Program, which is composed of national and regional governments that are sharing expertise and policy practices to advance the adaptations of well-being economies worldwide. Fun fact, it was spearheaded by female prime ministers. It's clear that we're only getting started and well-being economies are here to stay. The question is, when will the rest of the world catch up? A well-being economy isn't only a different economic system, it's a step forward in living together and interacting with the world in a more meaningful and intentional way. The way that we've lived in our individual industrialized world is careless, reckless, and endangering future generations and people alive today. Groups like Wellbeing Economy Alliance are working to co-create valuable knowledge, change the cultural narratives, and strengthen and connect power bases at the levels of societies to swivel from collapse toward a regenerative future. If you enjoyed watching the video about well-being economies, I want to know your thoughts about it. Do you think it's a sustainable economic model? Let me know, and please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, as this helps support my channel.